Hey everybody, today I'm going to show you how to sew a V-neck onto your shirt. So I've already cut out all of my pieces and I've assembled the neckband. I'm going to show you some little tricks that I used in doing this. You can see that my neckband is a bit thinner. I prefer a thinner neckband than the Laundry Day Tee has written into it. So this is what your neckband looks like when it's unfolded. So you sew your short end together, and I mark a line right down the center. It's kind of faded now, so that I know where my pivot point is when I sew. So you sew your V and then you clip into the seam allowance, but do not clip your threads. And then press those flat and fold your band in half and press. And I have already gone through and marked the quarter points on my band. They are starting to fade a bit, but you can see them right there, there, and there. So we will be using those to attach the band to the neckline of the shirt. Now before we get sewing this on, we're going to baste the neckband together so that it doesn't shift, and we're going to trim these little extra pieces off before we get going. I'm going to come over to the sewing machine and I like to lengthen my stitch and just use a 1/4 inch seam allowance to keep these pieces together. Drop the needle and lift the presser foot to turn. And there you can see we have that basted together. And now we have our shirt. And there is the neckline of the shirt. Kate, get the whole neckline. Okay, and now we have the quarter points of the shirt already marked also, and here's the center of the shirt. We need to stay stitch this V so that it doesn't stretch out while we're attaching the neckband. So open up your shirt. I'm using the Labelladonna, and what I've done is I've transferred the Laundry Day Tee V-neck to the Labelladonna. There's a tutorial on that on the blog if you are interested in doing that. So again, with the 1/4 inch seam allowance, just stay stitch the neckband. And like I said, that keeps the fabric from stretching out because it's cut on the bias. It's really susceptible to stretching out. So there we go. There we have our stay stitching. Now, you can see where I've marked the center. We need to clip into the shirt so that we can attach this V. So again, do not clip into the stitching, just clip right up to it. See? It did not clip the stitching. Now, I like to work from the right side of the shirt for this part. So I've turned it right side out. And what I do is I take a needle to mark that center V. Now, take your neckband and clip those off. And with the right side of your neckband, line up that seam with your needle, just like that. Come over here like this, Kate. Alright, and then after you've got that lined up, pin that into place. Again, we're doing this right sides together. Now, you're going to take the first side of your neckband and bring it without stretching anything so that it lays flat against your neckline. and then clip or pin that into place. Now you're going to repeat that with the other side. Take the neckband, pull it up. You can see how that opens up and everything lays flat. And clip that into place as well. Now we're going to take it to the sewing machine and we're going to baste this together before we really attach it into place. So go to the machine and use a long stitch just in case something doesn't line up the way you like. Then it's easier to rip it out. Do it again. So I like to do this with the neckband on top. So just have it all lined up, have my 3/8 seam allowance. And then I'm going to pull this straight and flatten out the shirt. Now when I get to that seam, we drop the needle and then we pivot the shirt a little bit. Remove the needle as you're going, like I did. Pivot it and then you continue on the other side. Just keep going a little bit. We're only sewing 2-3 inches on each side of the V. Okay, after you finish that part, take it, check it, and our basting stitch is showing, and that's okay because we'll pull that out. But there you can see that everything lines up just how we like it. So now we're going to attach the rest of the neckline. I like to do this with my shirt inside out. So remember we had our corner points marked. So we're going to take the back center and line it up with the back center of the shirt, clip it in place, and then we're going to line up the other quarter points. And you can see where we'll have to stretch that neckband in place there. That's the way it's supposed to be. And we'll do it to the other side. So we're clipping the neckband to the right side of the shirt. I just prefer to work with the shirt inside out. It's easier for me. Clip that in place. And then again, let's baste the neckband on with the sewing machine before we take it to the serger, or before you really stitch it in place properly, and that just gives you a chance to double check, make sure everything's where it belongs. So again, with 3/8 seam allowance, we're going to start getting our cords tied up, and then gently stretch the neckline, or the neckband, without stretching the neckline. And so with 3/8 seam allowance, press the shoulder seam to the back as we're going here, and just gently stretch the neckband as we work our way around the shirt. Okay, let's see, we just gently pull the neckband, and it lines up with the shirt. And then we're back to where we already sewed the V. I'm going to go ahead and go over it again. Make sure to keep that seam allowance nice and straight. Okay. Kate, can you get in there? You can see the needle didn't exactly drop where the seam is. So what I do is I just lift the needle and then pull back so that that stitch is a little bit shorter than the others, and then drop the needle right into that V. Just be careful, make sure that you don't shift the seam allowance, and you should be fine doing that. And then pivot, and then continue on your merry way. Again, stretching the neckband slightly. machine. Okay, we are almost there. Keep the raw edges lined up. Sounds like my needle's skipping. This is not, it's a ballpoint needle, but does not like this fabric for whatever reason. But that's okay because we're just basting this on. Okay, so now let's see what we got. Okay, turn everything right side out. You can see that second time around we were able to hide the basting stitches. We'll just clip that little thread and that little thread, so you can see everything lays nice and flat. And then from the inside, this is what it looks like. So let's see, everything just folds over, that opens up so that it lays nice and flat. Now we're going to take this over to the serger. When I serge, I start at the tip of the V, and then I just work my way back around. So I'm going to go over here now. My serger's set up. Make sure everything's still nice and flat, and it is. And I move it back so that the seam is at the needle. Put it in there. And then serging it in place. If you don't have a serger, you can just sew this on your regular machine. And see, we're getting back over to the V. And we will just serge it straight off the edge. And did not catch it close enough the first time around. But because it's sewn on, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do it from the other side. Because I didn't get, you can see how I didn't get close enough to the seam allowance the first time. So what I do sometimes is just go back from the other side, and I can see where the stitching line needs to be. Just work that in there. And there we go. That's better. All right. Now we take this over to the iron. Oh, I gotta clip those extra threads. Take it over to the iron. Yeah. Throw it around a little bit, it's good for it. And then just press it into place. Press that seam down all the way around. Heat discolors this fabric. And then if you like the look of top stitching, just top stitch all the way around to keep that seam in place. I generally don't top stitch. I don't have issues with my seams flipping up or anything like that, so I tend to skip that step. It's just what I prefer. Everybody prefers a different look. There you go. That is, see, ta-da, a V-neck.